Welcome to the Cruising is Life podcast. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser or just starting out, we have something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and get ready to set sail with us on the Cruising is Life podcast.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Cruising is Life podcast. Welcome back for another episode, another weekly podcast here on the channel. And we're here. Last week we did our pre-cruise podcast, and this week we have returned from the illustrious Oasis of the Seas, and we had a great time. But so yeah, we're gonna do our review tonight. So as always, joined by Justin, who was actually on the ship with me, and Dimitri, who was not with us.
Boo.
But Dimitri will be here to ask us questions as usual for these.
A lot of questions.
Yes. So first, as I get my cat out of the way, I will say, or I guess it's Justin, like, what were your overall thoughts, like, on the ship and everything like that?
I thought the ship was great. It had just come out of dry dock, and the only thing it did after that was that transatlantic cruise. I mean, there were some areas where I thought, they didn't really focus on during the dry dock. It wasn't a major dry dock, so I wasn't too surprised. But the overall ship was great. I mean, it felt like it still pretty much felt like it was pretty close to brand new in certain areas. Yeah. No, I mean, I went on it in 2022, and it felt the same back then too. So it was a good trip.
Yeah, that was, like you said, it was right after a dry dock, which is kind of a cool part of it. Sometimes, the first trip or two, luckily we had a transatlantic before us, but usually like the first trip or two, you kind of like get back into the swing of things. But yeah, it was pretty good. I overall thought it was really good. We'll get into things more in detail, but I think the only thing I really had an issue with was like the food wasn't great. But I think it was more we had leftovers from the transatlantics.
Yeah, we did, which sucked.
But I think overall, I mean, the ship, I think honestly that might still be my favorite Oasis class ship. Even with all the other ones, the only thing I have against the two new ones is just that tall glass, but like still, it takes everything that was good about those and it still has everything with those and doesn't have the tall glass.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. But, so we'll turn it to Dimitri. What you got for us?
Starting with embarkation, how was that? They should know.
Very easy. Very easy. Yeah, pretty much. The cool thing is that we got to use Terminal 18, which they built that ship or that terminal for Oasis, which is really cool. Yeah, but overall, it was very quick and easy. I mean, like the road system getting into it is kind of convoluted and wonky, but overall pretty good.
Yeah, they basically have two entrances that are 2 lanes that go into a 2-lane area. So it's 4 lanes going into 2, and one of them is only for cars, and one of them is only for cabs. So they're trying to merge everyone into basically a left 90-degree turn and then a right 90-degree turn, and like one of the lanes is coned off, so it was a mess. And then what happened was it's kind of like at the airport. They have like the lane up against the curb where you drop off your bags, but then they were using the next lane for people to also drop off their bags, which I get because you want to get as many bags as possible. But once you're done, if you're on the curb, you can't get out. Like you have to wait until someone moves. You're basically jammed in there, which kind of sucked. But
yeah, I actually was stuck. Like I had to like just sit there because the guy in front of me was taking his sweet time. There was somebody behind me. Literally, I had to like pull up just a little bit further just because I couldn't open the tailgate of my car. So like I had no room on either side of me. So I like tried to move over just a little bit to, get out into that second lane. But then somebody pulled up next to me and got out of the car and just like walked away. So I was like, all right, well, here we are.
So, but once we got past that bottleneck, it was fine. And then the check-in was really smooth. I had an issue checking in online for whatever reason. It just wouldn't let me do it. So we ended up having to go up to the counter. Like they have the people stand in front of the counter to check you in, and then they send you to the counter if you have any issues. And that was really easy. They took care of it, no problem. So we were, besides having to wait for like 10 minutes until they cleared the ship, I think it maybe took 10 minutes to go from the curb to where we had to sit and wait. It was pretty quick.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very quick and easy. Like, yeah, the app was having problems. Like, the funny thing is, like, usually, like, because for some reason it wouldn't let Justin check in. But then, like, usually in a case like that, usually you get a boarding pass regardless, and you just check in there, because that's kind of what you do on the app, is just do all of that for them. But it, like, didn't even give him a boarding pass, so we're like, uh-oh.
Right. Yeah, so are they even gonna, like, let me sail? Like, I thought maybe I didn't pay something or whatever, but, like, my name kept showing up on the reservation, so... But it worked out. We're
like, oh, we crossed every T, dotted every I, like... We did nothing wrong, so, like, there's no reason they would, refuse us or anything like that. It was just one of those really weird things. And they were like, yeah, no, everything's fine. Like, don't worry about it. What they did, like, in a situation like that, so if there's anybody, like, listening, you know, if you ever find yourself in that situation, like, if there's a boarding pass not showing up, like, as long as your reservation is still there online, that you're okay. But they'll give you a paper one, or they'll print one out for you when you're at the desk.
Right, yeah, they can either go through, because Brandon was able to check in no problem, so they were able to just go through his account and pull up my stuff and check in. So yeah, it was you know, besides the little bottleneck with the car and that little hiccup with the check-in, I mean, everything was smooth, and the only reason we waited in the terminal is because the ship, you know, had just finished the transatlantic, so the Coast Guard did a little inspection for it being back in the United States, so we had to wait for that to finish up, but it was smooth, nice and smooth for 6,000 people.
Yeah, Royal Caribbean's always got it down pat when it comes to stuff like that, and I feel like most cruise lines do nowadays. I think with technology, it just makes it so much easier for everybody. You know,
Except
gone are the
NCL,
days. Yeah, but you know, gone are the days. Like, it used to be like a big convoluted thing. Like, you know, you'd have to all sorts of documents and things like that. Now it's just like, all right, yeah, you got a passport, cool, go.
Yeah, it used to be a whole thing. I mean, when they built Terminal 18, they literally built 90 check-in counters. That was like the main thing about this terminal. Like, it had so many check-in counters because, like, everyone had to go there. It was such a pain in the butt to do it. And now it's like, you know,
now they
half a dozen check-in agents to check in 6,000 people. It's crazy.
They use maybe like 5 counters instead of those 90. So
yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty quick and easy, and of course, typical Royal, you know, very good, easy to embark. Why did I say embark? Embark.
I was like, go embark.
I was like, embark. I was like, that is not the right word. What the heck? But yeah.
Did what do you call it? Did they have new beds? That was a question that I was wondering. Were the beds new?
I didn't really notice.
I don't know. Are they on Facebook groups asking? I don't know. They were comfortable.
I've never really heard of that being like a big thing in dry docks. Like, do they replace them? I thought it was just the bed wears out over time. They're just going to replace it.
It felt fine to me. I was very comfortable. So
yeah, I felt fine. Well, I was pretty comfortable one night. I was a little too sauced up on the.
He was laying
wine.
Perpendicular to the two beds, so he was really comfortable.
I had a little bit too much wine one night, and I literally we had the bed split, so there's that little gap in between, and I fell asleep across the split. So like,
yeah, that's what I walked into. He's supposed to go explore the ship with me, and he disappeared. He did not show up. That's how I found him.
He literally said, "All right, yeah, I'm gonna go. Like, let's go walk around." I go, "I'm like this."
He literally goes, "Okay, I'm coming."
I was like,
and then
all right,
just didn't show up.
Well, I just hear. I'm like, "All right, yeah, I'm coming," and then I hear the door latch, and like the next thing I knew, I was waking up at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, real nice.
But yeah.
But very interesting. And then to get to something exciting, tell us.
I keep seeing the bridge coming up in the chat here. So yes, we'll have to elaborate for us, Justin.
Confidential, but I will go over it. So, yes, we got to watch the sailways from the bridge.
Very
not
awesome.
On top of the bridge, actually in the bridge of the ship. I'm friends with certain people who are able to make it happen. And this person wasn't even there. They reached out to someone else, and they were able to hook us up. And we almost missed it. They called our stateroom first, but we had already left because we thought the celebrity eclipse was about to leave. So we're up by the abyss, and then I texted my contact, and they were like, "Oh, they tried calling your room," and I'm like, "Oh my god, like what do we need to do?" And this person was like, "All right, I gave them your number." And as I'm reading that text, this other person calls me, and they're like, "All right, meet me on deck 12. Like security's gonna be waiting for you." Like, all right, great. So we run from deck 16 by like the flow riders across the ship, and then down to deck 12, and there's a security guard waiting for us. So we got to watch the ship leave from there, and we were delayed because of eclipse. So we got to spend a little bit of extra time on the bridge, but it was just
that was
incredible.
the coolest thing.
Awesome.
That was the coolest thing, and I see the question here. So like my elaboration here in a second will answer that question, but like yeah, it was super cool, and it was cool because like this is. The Oasis this time around was not only the ship that started it for me, like started everything for me, and actually I was looking back, I started my, not only like getting into cruising and just like being interested in it, but I actually started my Instagram, which is, you know, where I started, and I kind of moved on to, you know, YouTube and TikTok and everything else, but like I started my original Instagram page because I was excited for my cruise on Oasis of the Seas that I was going on. I went on Oasis for the first time for my high school graduation, and I was so excited for that cruise that I created my Instagram account that ended up leading to everything that we are today, which is kind of cool. But now this most recent time last weekend on the Oasis was my 50th lifetime cruise, which was crazy to think about. But, you know, so I feel like it was really cool to do the ship, you know, even if it was unintentional, because it was. I think it just kind of happened that way. But, you know, having Oasis be like the 50th lifetime cruise at, you know, kind of where it all started and kind of full circle moment. But then we also got to watch from the bridge of us leaving Fort Lauderdale, where the ship started, like all the nostalgia and like everything just kind of like aligned. But it was so cool. It was just, that was probably like the coolest way to celebrate something like that, of hitting a milestone of 50 cruises.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was really awesome. I mean,
we didn't really talk to the captain. Yeah, for sure. For real. We didn't really talk to the captain like a whole lot. It was more of just like we walked up like, hi, yeah, we're Justin, we're Brandon, you know, shook his hand, you know, just like, you know, great to, you know, thanks for having us up here. Great to be on the ship, things like that. They're like, all right, cool. We're getting ready to get underway here in a few minutes. So we're going to because we came in on the starboard side. So they're like, yeah, we're going to be standing over here on the starboard side while we undock and then kind of shift towards the middle. So if you guys could just please stand over on the port side bridge wing. And so we're like, say no more.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. So we just like walked to the side. Him and I just started talking. Well, you know, kind of whispering, obviously, because he didn't want to be too loud and everything like that.
It was very quiet there. It was very quiet.
Dead silent. But, you know, we had like one of the little, I don't know if he was a cadet or what his, like his thing, what like his actual position was, but he was more of a lookout. It was just him that was over there with us. And pretty much it was, you know, he was with the binoculars checking, you know, things for us. Yeah. Like, you know, he would dial in a little thing, you know, like, hey, Cap, like, you know, dialing over to the starboard side and say, hey, Captain, we got a small fishing boat that's crossing behind us on the, right, you know, on our side, things like that. So, like, seeing all that firsthand was actually really cool, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
That's awesome.
Definitely the best sail away I have ever had.
For sure.
I'll cruise out of Fort Lauderdale more often if that's the case. If I get to do that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Speaking of Fort Lauderdale, we will be ship spotting there this weekend, or all three of us actually.
Very excited.
Yes,
I'm already down here, so I'm just waiting for them to come down here.
I like Big Stu's chat. That probably felt like the king of the world. That's probably the best way to put it. Really.
Pretty much.
That was the coolest thing, really. I mean, yeah, it's hard
surreal.
to really.
It really was.
It really was a surreal feeling. It was hard to explain. It hard even to like put into words, like as it was happening, and still kind of. But yeah, that was just like one of the coolest and greatest feelings ever. Just like being up there.
and it wasn't planned. Like this person,
no, it wasn't.
Me. They knew we were going, and they texted me in the morning and like, oh, like it's cruise day, like have fun. And then they texted me later, like right before we left, and they were like, oh, what cabin are you in? And then it just took off from there. So thank you Port Everglades.
You'll even see, and I think this is my part 2 of the Oasis videos coming up. But there's literally like there's me talking to the camera, and I'm like, all right, so pretty interesting development, because we were already sitting up by the abyss, like preparing for sail away, and we're like, well, apparently this just happened, and you know, we're kind of like really quickly walking across the ship. We're like, apparently we're going up to the bridge to watch us leave from there.
We did.
It's like that's like literally how it went. It was completely unplanned, and it was just it was really cool though.
But I guess moving along, how was the entertainment? I know it was only a 3-night cruise, so like, what did they do? Did they do like the Broadway show, or did they just do the Aqua Theater stuff?
So they did do the Aqua Theater. We signed up for it, but we were so exhausted by the end of the first night that we ended up missing it because we picked the later show because we were kind of factoring in dinner, and that ended up biting us in the butt because we were then too tired for it.
That's okay.
But it was Aqua 80, which I know on Utopia it's Aqua 82, which is like a follow-up for it. So 80s movie themed, things like that. But as far as like the Broadway show, it's Cats. Don't go see it in the first place. I don't think they showed it on the 3-night sailing anyways, but don't go see it.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Oh my God.
That's like one of the only...
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
No, one, it's not that good, and 2, it's just so unbelievably long. It's like what, 2.5 hours or more?
Yeah,
it's so long.
That's crazy.
Like I remember, I went to it the first time I sailed on Oasis, and I remember getting up. It was before the first because they have to put an intermission there. Like they have to take a break for like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we'll be back. Nope, we were gone before that.
Yeah, gone.
It was it's pretty bad. Like I always love those shows though, because like I think it's Hairspray on Symphony. Wonder was
Laura's
the drone show.
Which one?
Isn't it was a drone show, I thought.
No, it was.
Is there another one?
I forgot what Wonders was. I don't know. But like Icon had like Wizard of Oz, things like that, and Star is gonna have Back to the Future, by the way.
Oh my God!
I'm so excited for that. I thought my dad was gonna like poop his pants when he.
Me and your dad are gonna dress up like Doc and Marty for when we go.
Oh my God, you should. So it's funny. So
I'm gonna text them right now.
So the funny thing is, my dad and I actually work for the same company, just completely separate ends of the company. It's a massive company, but we work on completely different ends. So like we don't really like work together or anything like that. But if I look up his name like on Microsoft Teams, like he'll show up, and his profile picture on Microsoft Teams at work is him taking his picture with Doc Brown at Universal Studios in front of the train. And is the funniest thing ever.
Love that.
But yeah.
What else you got for us, Dimitri?
Yeah.
Well, so elaborate on the food being no bueno.
So the food wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. Obviously, Justin's much worse than I am. Justin's worse than I am when it comes to being a picky eater, but like,
it's true.
I think it was more, I could kind of tell it got better throughout, or it slowly got a little bit better. I think it was a lot of, they just had leftovers from the transatlantic, like the chocolate milk for one. The chocolate milk on day 1 was something I had never even seen before, and it was also really bad. But
yeah,
like the last day of the cruise, it was the normal cartons. So... Well, that's just like one example, but like the buffet food in like Windjammer, I did not like at all. I don't think I ate in the Windjammer once, and I was like, I think that's enough for me. But like El Loco Fresh, 10 out of 10. Sorrento's, we only El Loco Fresh, 10 out of 10. Sorrento's was really good. Playmakers was fantastic. Like all of that. It was just the Windjammer really that I didn't like. But again, I think it was more of because it was a lot of the things that they were getting rid of from the transatlantic. They were getting rid of those provisions that they had in Europe.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Because even at least with the chocolate milk, they literally went back to the normal one like the next day.
Right.
So it was just the provisionings they brought on from whatever their European port was. So I'm sure by now it's all been loaded up with stuff from here. So that's good.
Yeah. Again, it got progressively better throughout the cruise. But yeah, I was like, you know what? I might just like avoid the Windjammer, which there's plenty of options on Oasis, which was good.
Yeah.
The one thing the portside barbecue, I want to touch on that because we didn't go because you have to pay for it. I'm not going to pay $15 to $20 for barbecue because if I go on a Carnival cruise, it's completely free. Barbecue on Carnival is free. So like I don't know. No, not a single person was ever in there.
That's true.
Like the whole cruise, there wasn't anybody sitting. It was such a nice restaurant. That place has so much potential to be so good and
takes
so
up a
popular.
Big area too.
It's
for
huge.
Not being used.
It goes pretty much like from where Alico Fresh is and extends all the way up, almost to like where the elevator banks is.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically
massive.
like where the kids club is on the newer ships.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, no, it's where the club used to be on Oasis.
Oh, okay. So they took the kids out. They said, you know what, to the kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good riddance.
I think they moved them more towards the center, I think is what it was. But yeah. But like, I think it was more, there wasn't ever anybody in there. But if it's supposed to be it's literally a buffet. Like if you walk in there, it's a buffet style. You go grab your stuff, but then there's a cash register at the end of it. Like, why?
That's criminal.
Like, it's not like because I know Norwegian does it. They have their barbecue. You pay for it, but it's a restaurant. You order off the menu. They bring it.
It's a smokehouse. It's a specialty. Sure, that's fine.
Right, exactly. Q is so good. We have to go there on the Joy, by the way.
Oh, we're going.
Because I loved that. But like at Q on Norwegian, you get all these appetizers. You order the food from a waiter, things like that. Yeah. So it's an actual like smokehouse, a barbecue restaurant. This is just our barbecue buffet, like you would find on the outdoor deck on deck 5 of a Carnival ship. Now, I'm not comparing, it's not apples to apples, obviously, but like, that's essentially, the way it's laid out. It's the same buffet line of food type of thing. Right. I'm sure because you're paying for it, it probably is a little bit better, but like, you actually get people to go there if it wasn't, $15-20 a person.
True.
Like I would have loved to go there. I would have gone there probably. I love barbecue. I would have gone there so many times throughout the cruise, but I didn't. Probably just like everybody else.
Yeah, for real.
I gotcha. So
that's my biggest pet peeve. Is like I wanted to try it so bad, but I have not. I just didn't want to pay money for it when there were so many other options.
Got it. How was the room itself? I know you guys had said it was on a high deck. Were there any noise things? Any to clean? It was good.
Yeah, it was perfectly fine. Our room steward was she was nice. We really only saw her once or twice, but she was always quick, quick enough to where we barely saw her, pretty much.
Yeah, no, I had no complaints with her, and it was good.
Yeah,
the room was set up like a balcony room, which sometimes the interior rooms, they'll put the beds like against like the far wall, and it'll face the door.
Yeah.
This one was set up like a balcony, how a balcony would.
It
was
like
fine.
That.
I mean, we were only in there at night, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think we spent too much time in the room, to be honest with you.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm disappointed.
I think there was once or twice where we sat there and we just got like, I think we got a little too comfortable, and then we realized how much time had passed and we went, oh,
Yeah, so
But yeah,
it is what it is.
but we had a good time. I don't think that really took away anything. It was more of just
Oh, it
I
way all
think
right.
I think we were just relaxing, and which is good because we're on vacation. But yeah, I think with us, we always like to be out around, filming and stuff like that. So in that aspect of things, it was like, dang. But relaxing was quite nice.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
But it was a very nice room, though.
Very good. Alrighty. So now, how about where did you guys go, and what did you do in those places?
So first stop was Nassau, and then Coco Cay. Um, the first so the first stop in Nassau, there was a 6-ship day again. It was 6 ships. Yeah, really. It was 6 ships when I was there on Utopia a couple months ago too. But we had, so it was us, Oasis, Norwegian Joy, Carnival Legend was coming across on a transatlantic, which was really cool. So yeah, seeing Legend coming across on a transatlantic, then Norwegian Joy, Norwegian does not go to Nassau anymore. So it was a very rare occasion that we saw the Joy in the first place.
Yeah, it was awesome.
MSC Seashore, which was cool because I've really only seen her in Canaveral. I see her like almost every weekend, yeah, but seeing her somewhere other than Canaveral was really cool. Crystal Serenity, small ship, not too exciting, but cool to see. And Carnival Freedom, again, don't really see that thing anywhere else but Canaveral, so.
Right.
Did you guys get off the ship at all?
Yes.
Of course.
We had to take pictures and videos of all the ships around there.
Yeah,
but
duh.
Was
really
it busy in the Newport area? How did that area kind of accept how busy it was that day?
It was crowded.
It was
I don't
pretty
think it was
busy.
any more crowded than I would, ever expect. It was crowded, but nothing like overwhelmingly crowded. I could still
Yeah,
move around.
The new area that they're redeveloped it helps a lot. It's very
Yeah.
nice.
I would say I've been to Disney World that's more crowded than that. So,
For real.
but yeah, and then like we pretty much walked through all like the new shopping area and things like that up to the amphitheater. That we went out of the gate and walked down to the Senior Frogs and like went out to that little pier, got some pictures of the ships from there, but that's really about it.
Okay.
We don't ever really do much in Nassau. That's kind of the extent of what we always do there.
Right.
Which is, for us, it's fun. Some people are like, oh, why would you do that, or why would you go there? It's like, I don't know. We had a lot of ships here. I like
There's a lot
seeing
of
ships.
ships there, yeah.
I'm here to see the ships, man. I'm a
Yeah, what are you
nerd.
talking about?
I am a nerd. I am here to see the cruise ships.
Nerd.
Did were there any horn wars?
Yes.
So we did with Allure. We did with Allure in Coco Cay, and that was amazing.
But none in Nassau with all those ships?
I mean,
There
they
wasn't
did like their
anything else
departure
royal.
horns, but that was it.
Oh, that's lame.
There was nothing else royal there. Usually, if it's like same cruise line, then yeah.
Except for Captain Kate McHugh has begs to differ.
She wasn't
She'll
there,
just do it
man.
with everybody. But yeah, being with Allure and Coco Cay was amazing. I thought I'd seen it in the chat at one
Awesome.
point, but like the crowding in Coco Cay, not that bad.
Well, we're
With
getting
2
to
Oasis
Coco
class
Cay.
ships.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nassau, is that kind of the summary? Is that all the comments?
Yeah, I mean,
that-
we
it was a
really didn't
beautiful
do a whole
day.
lot there. Yeah, it was an amazing
Yeah.
day. I mean, it was pretty hot, but nothing too crazy.
Okay, so yeah, on to Coco Cay. Who was there with you?
It was the Allure.
I wonder.
That was really cool seeing, because they're the 2 originals, and how important and how much of an impact they had on the industry. Not on the industry, but like the both of us too. So it was really cool seeing the ships together like that, because it's pretty rare that those 2 specifically will meet up. Like the double Oasis class happens a lot now, which is crazy, but it definitely is not, the two of them don't meet very often.
And it wasn't, I know you kind of said it wasn't too crowded, like generally with two Oasis class there?
No, even with Utopia and Allure, I didn't really spend a whole lot of time out in Coco Cay, when I was on Utopia, just because it was so hot that day. Like, it was just unbearable that day because it was obviously the middle of August. But, it really didn't seem that bad. I think, once they opened up the adults-only area, I think that really, pushed a lot of other additional capacity in there, and a lot of additional people can just go off to a different area. So I think it really wasn't that bad. And with two Oasis class ships, you would kind of expect it to be, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Got it. That's good. And what did you guys do there? Hopefully eat a chicken sandwich and mozzarella sticks?
I did. He did not. I know.
Are you kidding me?
I'm here to call him out, man.
Shocked.
Yeah,
it's
I don't.
Chicken in a bun.
I put my buns without chicken in it.
I thought you were gonna say the chicken without the buns, but.
Oh, that's what he was gonna say too. But
that's for a different kind of chicken.
That is sacrilege. Oh my god, I can't even be friends with you.
I literally made him stay out on the island for them to open up the snack shack first.
Yeah, I didn't realize you wanted to do that. We wouldn't have gotten off so early.
Yeah. Well, we got off early so we could beat the heat. And then
that's true. It was worth it. It was awesome.
The chicken and mozzarella sticks were 10 out of 10 as usual.
Did you get anything from the buffet at least?
No.
Out down there? Are you kidding me?
I go, all right, yeah, the thing's open. I'm gonna go grab somebody. He goes, okay, I'm gonna go get a table.
Yeah, I didn't see anything I wanted there. I was obsessed with the chicken fingers in the. Pablo's trying to get him. I was obsessed with the chicken. I was obsessed with the chicken fingers in the buffet. Here, I'll let him in.
Well, they had chicken fingers in the buffet on the island.
Those are the most disgusting chicken fingers I had ever had. That's part of that was the biggest thing I didn't like in the buffet. I was like, these chicken fingers are awful. He was scarfing them down though. Ow. Pablo.
Pablo, say hi. Hold on. Say hi.
He looks scared.
He's not scared. He's just dramatic.
He's looking for somebody to bite.
He is looking for someone to bite. Are you a biter?
Oh, is he a little bit feisty?
He bit the neighbors.
Oh, nice.
He's bitten a lot of people.
He's bit me once or twice.
Oh, of course. Now he's going to stop.
Side little, a little 10-second veer off of course. Did you guys hear that Disney Dream and Disney Treasure will be in Nassau together tomorrow?
That's
I just saw Disney Dream today.
Yeah,
big
they're
day.
Gonna be in Nassau. They're going to be in Nassau tomorrow together.
Cool.
That is cool, actually.
But
and then Disney Treasure is being christened up in New York for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah, what is that?
Make that make sense. Why would you do that? They've christened unless they did something with fantasy that I'm not aware of.
No, it was in Port Canaveral.
They christened every single ship to this point here in Canaveral.
No, one of them was in New York.
Yeah,
we looked this up on Wikipedia a couple weeks ago.
Maybe it was fantasy. I don't know. But why?
Whatever. It's ridiculous.
Why would you not do that in the home port? Why would you go to a port that you never sail from? They've sailed in New York before, obviously, but why would you christen your brand new ship in a port that it's not even going to go to?
Who knows?
Or a port that you, as a company, barely go to. It just doesn't make sense.
I guess New York's better than us. They think they're so much better than us, they can take the ship themselves, have it.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
Actually, I do want it. Those horns sound really cool.
I'm so excited for the dreidel song. Awesome.
The dreidel song.
Yes.
I thought you were gonna say
Mariah
Moana,
Carey-
but yeah, I guess I'm not surprised. By that
Moana
either.
second.
Yeah.
I love Moana.
She'll be back in Canaveral next Saturday, and I will be there for that. So stay tuned for Disney Treasure videos coming up soon.
Yeah,
I think I'm most excited.
New Year, but
I'm most excited for just like having a new Saturday Disney ship.
yeah, it's been fantasy for too long. Love the fantasy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, exactly. I love the fantasy and everything like that, but it's been so long. Like we got the Wish, which was cool, but like I never really got to see I'd never see the Wish that much. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, she's getting christened on the 19th / the 20th in New York.
So weird.
So she's probably doing this, what do you call it? Visitors, cast member cruise, and then going up there.
I think she's going straight up there.
Yeah,
'cause I don't
she's
think
not-
she's
she's not coming
she's not
back
scheduled to
until-
come back.
yeah,
Oh, she isn't, so she's just going straight up, probably
Straight to
down
New York.
Lighthouse and straight up.
Probably.
Nice.
Yep.
What else, Dimitri?
What else you got for us?
So I know you guys had said some things looked new on the ship and some didn't. Like, was it more cosmetic that didn't look good, or was it like
Yeah, it was
new
just
things that other ships have that they didn't put on there?
no. It was just more cosmetic. Like there were certain areas, right? Like there was rust or something looked faded or whatever. But I mean, that's only because I like pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Right.
But if you were just like a normal person on vacation and just happened to go on this cruise, you wouldn't even notice it. So it was more just like, oh, it's weird that they didn't touch this up, like it just came from dry dock, you know.
Like 90% of the ship, you could tell it was like fresh, but then there were like a few like very small minor details where you're like, that's weird.
Yeah.
It was
But-
more of a that's weird than, oh, that's a problem. Like none of it was clearly a problem or anything like that. It was more of just like
no, without giving it a deep look, the ship looked great.
like there were more details as well where you like if I didn't know this ship just came from dry dock, I wouldn't have even noticed.
Right.
It was more of like for a ship that is 2 weeks out of dry dock, that's weird.
Yeah. So,
Understood.
but it was fine. It didn't impact.
Yeah,
the
it-
cruise.
That was, I mean, it felt about as fresh as the Utopia felt when I was on her, 3 weeks in. So, and same with Icon. Like I had no problem with it. It was in really good shape.
Did they do like, I don't know how they do it on the shorter cruise, like the big ball drop and all that stuff? Do they do all that on the shorter cruises?
They had
and
the
stuff?
balloons
Yeah.
up, but they did it at midnight. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah,
That's when they normally do it though.
Pookie's bedtime is before midnight.
Pookie's
So-
bedtime is before midnight when you got to get up at 5 a.m. to watch the ship arrive.
I guess so. You can sleep after the
Um,
cruise.
So I'm
True
still trying to cover up or make up for it. I had to get up
Yeah.
to take care of Pablito over the last couple of days.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, they did the balloon drop, all that kind of thing. I mean, I don't
but we
think
don't
they
know
really
about any
limit.
the 70s disco party. We don't know if we weren't even paying attention.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Got it. Yeah, were there any nightlife, like the club or any years in?
I mean, I'm sure there was.
We're not really
Just-
clubbers either.
Again.
Mhm.
We're not really clubbers either.
I mean, I'd go get down and dirty if we really wanted to, but get a couple drinks, show off
Pookie's
some moves.
getting down and dirty. You heard it
I
here
got
first,
some moves,
folks.
boys. I can dance.
You're gonna have to show that to me. You're gonna have to show it to us on the beach on Saturday when we're watching the ships leave.
Oh, I'll show you. I'll show you something.
That's why he's the
Oh.
engaged one, and Dimitri and I are the ones that are single.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
No sense. Math
There's
ain't
plenty
math.
of reasons, but that's one of them.
That's true. I just found one that seems to not pay attention to my weirdness. I think she's blocked it out at this point.
I seem to have found one that's breathing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the story. And then and we got off the next day.
I checked
And
for
that
a
was
pulse, and it was all great from there.
Yeah, boom, hot diggity dog.
And now we're engaged.
Yeah, crazy man. Makes me
back
sick.
back on topic.
Yeah, right. Who was with you guys when you guys came back? Anybody cool?
Actually,
Yeah.
it was pretty good lineup the day we got off. It was Grandeur, New Amsterdam, and the Apex.
Yeah. And
Nice.
Grandeur was at 19, so that was pretty cool.
So we were like right next to her like that, which is really cool. Yes, perpendicular.
Okay, so
but
then
yeah, it was
I
pretty
guess
cool.
my next question. So today on my story, I posted, should new ships be put on shorter itineraries or longer itineraries?
I saw that.
When I checked a couple hours ago, what do you guys think? Just because this ship did a shorter cruise and there's one that's the same ship but doing shorter cruises, do you think a lot of people said yes, or do you think a lot of people said no?
I voted for the longer one, so I'm going to say they said no.
Yeah. I voted the opposite because I'm selfish and because I take more shorter cruises, so I want the new stuff here. But
Of course, but I'd also rather go on Utopia for 7 days versus 30.
Right, exactly. I'm fully convinced that Utopia will be a 7-day ship eventually. Once the next set of Oasis ships come out, I'm sure she will be. But yeah, it's...
What was the result?
Yeah, what is the result,
The
by the way?
result was like resounding, I should say. Like 92% saying 7 days.
Yeah.
And only people saying shorter cruises.
I mean, yeah.
That's crazy, actually. I thought it'd be a lot closer.
Like, my thing is, I think Royal's doing it right in the aspect of they have to have plenty... Right, there was a lot of hype going in, but they have to have a lot of those ships in the first place. Like, the only reason Utopia works as well as it does is because there's 5 other options that are all doing the 7 nights. So if you've got 5 other options that are pretty relatively new or upgraded, then, having the one new one go to that, then cool. Plus your other option as well is, all right, you just launched the number 1 and number 2 largest cruise ships in the world. Number 1 is doing 7 nights, so if you're going to try to capitalize on your 3-night market, don't cannibalize your sales on your brand new Big Daddy ship. Capitalize on the sales of and take the place of like a smaller, like a different one. You don't want to compete with yourself, especially right out of the bat. Because when you're comparing Utopia to Icon coming out in the exact same year, if you put both of them on 7-night cruises, Icon's going to take all of the Utopia sales. Utopia is going to be irrelevant. So Utopia is maintaining like its relevancy and its popularity because it's doing something completely different.
That's true.
But I also think that that's kind of Royal's plan right now, is that they're offering these, incredible Icon class ships to do those 7-night cruises. But I think the remaining and, the future of the Oasis class is going to be the new ones, at least. The new ones are all going to continue to go straight to the 3 and 4s out of Canaveral and Miami. And then once they kind of serve those terms, like, for example, Utopia and Wonder, because Wonder is eventually going to go to the 3 nights out of Miami. Once the next set of Oasis ships come out, they're going to take those 2 places, and then, Wonder and Utopia are going to move over, back to 7s, or, in this case, 2 7s, which I think is kind of the case. I think that's the right way to do it. I think
it should be
the
other way around. I think they should put the older ships on the weekends. And
I
then
mean,
the newer ones
yeah.
should go on weekends.
I mean, yeah, but I guess, I would say yes, but when you have the Icon class coming out at the exact same time, it's kind of hard to compete putting the 2 against each other. But yeah, I mean, it does make a little bit more sense to put the older ones on the shorter itineraries, but I honestly think it would be better to have Oasis and Allure on the longer ones, though.
Yeah,
but the downside is, that was my biggest complaint about Utopia. It was that it was too much for too little time, which I knew that going in clearly. Like, that's going into it, you're not going to be that disappointed. But like I just thought I was getting settled in on the Utopia, and it was time to go.
Felt.
Obviously, I'll always pick a 7-night cruise any day of the week over a 3-night. But
True.
I guess the advantage of the 3 nights, and that's really why we do them so much, is that we take Friday off of work, we get on the ship, and we're back in time for work on Monday. So we use 1 day of PTO. We can cruise more often because we're not using as much PTO.
Yeah, that is nice. I do agree with that.
Yeah, that's why we do it so often. Yeah, there are definitely more advantages of doing a 7-night cruise, over a 3-night, but the 3 nights do have their advantages and their perks. It's also more reason to go on them again. I mean, my parents are going on Utopia for a second time already, tomorrow. So
Lucky them.
Yeah,
I know.
Nice.
They didn't take me. I didn't take
Good.
them on Oasis.
That's fine.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, how dare you not take me on the Utopia again? They're like, you literally just got off Oasis 3 days ago. I go, I don't want to hear it.
They don't get it. They don't get it.
I was like, where was my invite?
Alrighty, well, I've got 2 more questions.
Oh boy.
So, one question is, how was the atmosphere of people on the cruise? Okay, it was a shorter cruise, but you get the people that go on shorter cruises to go on shorter cruises, and then people who go on longer cruises to go on longer cruises. But this was like a special cruise because she just got out of dry dock. So was there
right?
People,
it wasn't your typical Friday to Monday. It was a Thursday to Sunday. So it was extra days of PTO. So not as many people were taking advantage of that quote unquote weekend. But I've always, even on Liberty of the Seas, when we did the 3 nights on her, I found the crowd a little calmer than Miami and Fort Lauderdale. We really only did the Freedom out of Miami, but I feel like Freedom versus Liberty of the Seas, I felt like the crowd was a little bit more calm. Not that it was out of Miami, but I feel like Miami is definitely a party vibe or a party, city type of atmosphere, and Fort Lauderdale's just a little bit more laid back.
Okay.
My cat wants to play right now, so she's screaming at me.
Well, that's nice.
She is screaming.
All right, what's the last question? 'Cause I gotta go shower too. I stink.
Oh, you always do.
Get stinky out there.
I love you, Pookie. I'm just here to roast you on
That's
stream.
Okay. Yeah, if you ever meet me in person and I stink, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
Fat people problems. I can't help it. I can't wash everywhere.
Aww.
I'm just kidding, kind of. I'm just kidding.
Kind of.
All right, but I guess half is better than none.
That's right.
But if someone were to ask you, would you book a cruise again after a dry dock for a short voyage? Would you tell them to do it or not to do it?
Yes.
Yes.
Do it.
I'm looking for the next ship to do it.
Yeah, for real.
If Allure does it, I think she's going back to Miami, if I'm not mistaken, or no. I don't know, but she is being a big.
No, I think she's staying in Europe, right?
She's staying in Europe. For
yeah, but she's coming back later that year though, for her transatlantic.
I think she's coming to Fort Lauderdale, right? I think that's when her and Oasis are doing this 6 and 8s.
So after this podcast, I'm going to be going onto Royal Caribbean's website and checking to see if there's a 3-night on Allure post dry dock.
Look it up right now, baby.
Honestly, I thought it was fantastic. The dates don't line up as perfectly as your typical weekend cruise, but I'd do it again.
I lied. She's going back to
Galveston.
She's coming right. I'm looking at the wrong year. Hold on.
Wow.
I'm so dumb. So dumb. Hold on. Yeah, so she's in Europe for the summer. And then she does a 13-night transatlantic on October 26th to Fort Lauderdale, and then she goes right into the 8-night.
Dang.
Missed it.
Darn.
Darn.
But yeah, I'd do it again. I mean, if like another ship was doing something like that, I'd totally do it again. I wish like a freedom class or something like that. If like Liberty of the Seas, I think she's scheduled for a dry dock next year. If she does it, that'd be cool. I'd be
You should do it on Adventure. She's coming back soon.
I know, right?
Maybe she'll
Unfortunately, I've spent a little bit too much money over the last like 3 months on booking and paying for other cruises.
Whoops.
Oopsies. Yeah, as much as I'm excited for all of these cruises, I'm excited for Venezia now that we've paid for it already and like the money's out of my pocket. But if I could go back and look at myself, booking all of these cruises during that span of time, like, oh yeah, we'll be fine. That's like a 2024 problem. I'd punch myself in the face. It is a
big problem.
I do not regret one bit doing Oasis at all, but at the same time, probably shouldn't have gone, but it was fine. I had a great time. So, enjoy your money because you can't take it to the grave.
Maybe you guys can't, but I definitely am. Throw it in there with me.
Throw it in there with me. But enjoy your time, enjoy your money. You can always look back on.
I'll make it back eventually.
Right. Well, that's what my mom tells me, and that's the reason why I go on spending sprees at times. She's like, "Oh, it's just money. You'll make more." I'm like, "Mom, you don't need to be telling me this.
Don't say that.
Don't tell me that because I'll go book another cruise." She goes, "I'm not telling you to book another cruise. I'm telling you to enjoy yourself." I'm like, "Well, that's how I enjoy myself."
That's how I enjoy myself. They don't get it, Brandon. They just don't get it.
Exactly, but. Yeah, you can't take your money with you, so enjoy it. And you can always look back. You can always look back in the memories, but in the future you can be like, oh, it would have been so cool had I booked that cruise, but I'd much rather.
If we're eventually homeless, we can reminisce on all our good memories.
Right, exactly. If I'm homeless in the streets of Orlando, man, at least I did Oasis. So.
Right, yeah, for real. Thank God. Thank God.
Right, exactly. But anyways, yeah, I had a great time, and I don't regret booking any of these, but it's just more of like there's so many to pay for.
Yeah, what are you gonna do though, right?
I don't regret it at all. It's always a great time.
We're glad you guys had a good time.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody.
All right. Anything else for us, Dimitri?
That is it.
All right, that is all. Well, perfect. Thank you guys all for everybody who's still here listening to us live here on YouTube. Thank you all for hanging out and listening to this point. Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening later on. Thank you guys for hanging out as always, and we'll see you guys back next week for another episode of the Cruising Life podcast. Have a good night.
If I remember. Bye.
Yeah, that's why we're late.